Dear students, I'm here with the next story of yours, A Question of Trust. The summary of the story, Question of Trust by Victor Canning. Horace Danby, a bachelor of 50 years, lived with a housekeeper, suffered from hay fever. Hay fever is an allergy caused by dust or pollen. Horace has ran successful lock business with two helpers. On account of this, he was believed to be a respectable person. Narrator, however, questions Horace's honesty. The narrator confides in the reader that Horace had been imprisoned once, retained for fear of getting caught. Despite this, Horace robbed house once a year. He would plan the robbery carefully, and once successful, he would live off the money for the rest of the year. He had weakness for rare and expensive books. He would use the money from robbery to buy rare books secretly. Horace was therefore confident that this year would be a successful year as last year. He had already chosen the next target, a house at Shotover Grange. Horace had been watching the house for quite some time. He knew the owner had gone to London and the house was safe. Horace had calculated the safe contained £50,000 worth jewels. The money from jewels would last him for a year. Walking towards the house, he thought of the books he would buy and with the proceed from the robbery. He put a pair of gloves and took the key from the kitchen door. A little dog greeted him. Horace affectionately called him by his name, then moved on to the drawing room. There were flowers arranged on the table in the drawing room, and it triggered him hay fever. He sneezed. Horace felt the safe was not going to be difficult to crack. With confidence, he laid down his tools. Then he left the room to cut the burglar alarm. He sneaked with entered room again. The smell of the flowers were proving as quite distracting for him. Suddenly he heard a firm, quiet voice from behind asking him whether he had cold or hay fever. Then the voice advised Horace to get his condition examined, otherwise it might adversely affect his work. Horace turned and he saw a woman dressed in red, quite young and pretty. Sherry, the dog, was standing by her. He assumed it was a lady of the house. Hoping to avoid trouble, Horace answered charmingly that he wasn't expecting anyone to be in the house. The woman in red asked him what he is going to do now that he is caught. Horace wanted to run. The woman anticipated replies that he can call police immediately. Horace encounters her by saying he would cut the telephone wire. Then he tries to frighten the woman. Finally, he asks her to let him go. Woman in red replies sharply, "Society must protect from men like you." Horace protests by saying that he only stole once a year. Furthermore, he confides her fear of prison. The woman now asks Horace for favor in exchange of his freedom. He had forgotten the safe combination, needed his help in opening it. Horace, eager to help her, opens the safe and hands the jewels over to the woman. Then he takes his leave, promising to be good. The 2 days Horace kept his promise. On the third day, however, the temptation of rare, expensive books overcame his promise to be good. He started planning the next robbery, but poor Horace never got a chance. He was arrested for stealing jewels from Shotover Grange. He had quite carelessly left his fingerprints over the safe. Horace tried telling this story to the police that the owner asked him to open the safe. It was then he realized that woman in the red was another thief, and she betrayed her. The real lady of the house had never seen him. The Horace was sent to the place feared the most, prison. He is now assistant librarian in the prison and gets angry whenever he is mentioned about the honor among thieves. That is where a thief should not betray another thief. Horace clearly feels that the woman in red violated this code, which led to the capture and imprisonment.